The first time it happened, I was actually attending Creamfields and I got approached by some person as we were walking into the arena. Yes, YouTube. So we are back after a short hiatus. Now, in this video, what I'm going to do is just run through my full gym transformation and how essentially it's changed my life. I know you're probably thinking, oh, the gym's changed my life. That's so cringy and that's so cliche. But as we go through this video, you'll realize that what I'm saying is actually true. Now, at 16, I used to dislike how I looked. In my friendship group at school, I was one of the lads who was more out of shape. Not because that I wasn't active, I absolutely loved playing sport, but it was just the fact that my diet was horrendous. I was skinny fat, didn't have much confidence, didn't have any clue what I was doing in the gym. Now, 8 years later, I coach people full-time to get in sick shape without all of the guesswork. Let's go back to me at the very start when I was 16. Like I mentioned, I was skinny fat, had low confidence. I wasn't very outgoing, always stayed in my comfort zone. I definitely wasn't gifted with genetics, but I knew that I was unhappy with how I looked and that I wanted to change. And at 16, along with my mates that I was going to the gym with, I thought lifting was as simple as going into the gym, shifting some weight around, eating an okay diet, and that would give you results. And I was right, it did give me results, but the results weren't really that great. To be honest, when I was going and training, what I was really doing was just following the lad that was most jacked that I was training with and just copying exactly what he was doing. Because it seemed to be working for him, but when I tried it, it didn't quite work out as well for me. Now, after a few months, there was a little turning point. Something in me just clicked. Like I mentioned before, I wanted to change. I knew that going into the gym and training and eating a better diet and learning how to train properly would allow me to get into better shape. Started watching the likes of Mike Thurston, Simeon Panda, and I just thought, how is it possible that someone could look like that? And when I talk about Simeon Panda, I don't mean being big and black. I mean, how can you carry that much muscle and how can you be that lean? Through watching those videos, I learned that there was so much more to training than just going, shifting some weight and eating an okay diet. And I actually started to learn and pick up tips along the way that I was implementing into my training. In the first couple of years of my lifting career, from 16 to 18, I was simply just going into the gym, trying to pick up tips from the videos that I was watching, and my diet, I was essentially just eating whatever my mum would cook, bless her. To be completely honest, those meals weren't great. A couple of my favourites were quesadillas and another one was quiche chips and beans, and I absolutely loved them. From those two teas alone, you can gather that my diet wasn't really the best, or wasn't optimised to give me the best results with my training. So, at 18, I was heading off to university, and this is where things really started to step up a notch. I was fully self-sufficient, I had the ability, and I was able to just cook all of my own food to ensure that it was giving me the best results from what I was doing with my training. And the results showed that. This was the first time where, in a relatively short space of time, I'd actually seen what I deemed were really, really good results from the effort that I was putting in. So again, researching about my diet wasn't really the best throughout first year. Two staple meals for me were breaded chicken and pasta. That was literally eaten every single day. And another one was chicken and rice, but the chicken I would buy pre-cooked from Asda. I could just bang it in the microwave with the rice, put some sauce on, that was my meal done. During my first year at uni, I just decided that it would be best for me to fully bulk. I was quite skinny, not carrying loads of muscle. I was a little bit skinny fat, but in my head I thought at the time it would definitely be best for me to bulk up and then potentially do a little cut later on. And I did see good results. I put on a decent amount of size in a relatively short space of time. So heading into second year, again, been bulking for around a year, I was carrying more fat than I would like. And another thing that threw a spanner in the works, obviously COVID hit during second year, so gyms were shut. I did have equipment at my uni house, but they were the weights where you had the bar and you had to put the weight on and then screw each end on. And I'm someone who very much loves the gym environment. So for me to train outside of the gym environment at my home, having to screw and unscrew all the weights, that just wasn't going to happen for me. With lifting off of the table, I decided to just crack on with a little bit of weight loss, try and get really lean, see sort of where I could get to, which would prime me again for a bulk and another gaining phase. And I did see good results. My diet was pretty much on point. I was eating really healthy food all day, every day. I was going and doing my steps, started doing a little bit of running, which is rare for me because I'm not really a runner. I prefer to lift weights. So I think at the end of my first cut, I dropped down to around 74 kilos. As you can see from the picture on the screen, lean, still not really carrying a lot of muscle. So during second year, I think the gyms opened up and then they shut and then they opened up again because of COVID. So when the gyms opened up, I was going in and cracking on as usual. I wasn't bulking, I wasn't cutting, I was just maintaining. And then when the gym shut again, I would just be maintaining or in a slight deficit. Heading into the start of third year. Again, this was another key turning point in my fitness journey and my confidence journey as a whole. As I was lean from predominantly cutting during second year. I thought third year, let's jump into another bulk. And again, I saw really, really good results. It was as if the research that I'd been doing over my previous years of training had all come to fruition, and I was actually figuring out how to train properly and effectively, and the results showed that. So during my bulk, I think I may have got up to around 85, high 80s, so I put on 10 plus kilos. Granted, some of that is fat, but this was a point where I was thinking, right, I'm actually packing on a decent bit of muscle. I'm looking okay. I actually look like I lift a couple of weights, and I was happy. This was the first time in my whole lifting career where I looked in the mirror and thought, right, I'm actually quite proud of the physique that I've got, and the physique that I've built, and all the work I've put in, and the dedication. It's finally paying off. I feel like this was a point where I was really sinking my teeth into fitness. Obviously, I had my uni work going on, but in the time that I wasn't spending at uni, I was really just focusing on my fitness, training, ensuring all my meals are prepped, ensuring that I'm always on track with my diet, just trying to get the best results possible from what I was actually doing. Finishing third year of uni on a bulk, heading into fourth year now, this was another key moment within my journey and my fitness journey as a whole. Now, when I was 16 up until probably 18, 19, so second, third year of training, I just hated having my picture taken. I don't know if it was subconsciously because I didn't really like the way I looked, or that I was just lacking confidence. But I genuinely just didn't like having my picture taken. I didn't like taking any videos. I just wanted to keep to myself. Now, what I'm about to tell you, it's not to brag or to boast, or I don't want to seem narcissistic or arrogant, but this thing that happened really sort of caused me to reflect on all of the work that I'd put in and the results that I'd seen and the physique that I'd built. So the first time it happened, I was actually attending Creamfields and just being in the crowd, obviously listening to the music, enjoying myself. And I got approached by some person as we were walking into the arena. So the gates for the arena had just opened. I think it might have been around 6 p.m. I might be making that up. But we were walking into the arena and there was just one fella stood looking at the crowd. Thousands and thousands of people swarming into the event. And there was just one fella stood and he was looking towards the crowd. So our group were walking pretty much towards this fella, obviously going to walk around him. And as our group got closer, he came to me and he stopped me. And he pulled his phone out and he was like, oh, I work for a modelling agency. I'm a modelling scout. Would you be interested in filling in a few questions and having some pictures taken? I was like, what? Like, I was baffled. Filled in the details, took some pictures. Obviously, he went back and then we were in contact a little bit after Creamfield. So I went down to the agency, had like an interview, and they said that I was too big. Again, at this point, I'd been bulking. I was a little bit puffy. I wasn't fat by any means, but I definitely wasn't lean. I was just somewhere in the middle. Now, again, for modeling, for those of you who don't know, you need to basically fit certain parameters, and they said that I was just a little bit outside of the range. So I thought, should I give it a go? Should I not give it a go? I thought, coming to the end of my time at uni, I've got nothing to lose. I may as well give it a go just to see if it could actually lead anywhere. I don't want to miss the opportunity and then regret that later on down the line. This was the time that I did my first proper cut. And again, testing all of the knowledge that I'd gained over my 3-4 years of training. And I got into really, really good shape. I was lean, still carrying a good amount of muscle. I wasn't really in the trenches too much, definitely was for a very brief period, but I feel like I managed the process really well for my first proper cut. I did my first cut, got extremely lean, went down for another interview, and I actually got offered a contract. Now, the modelling agency is a bit weird. Now, a contract doesn't mean you're guaranteed work. You have to go to castings. It's a case of, oh, like if you fit a job description, then you can go down and cast, you may potentially get the job. So in my modelling career, let's say, I got one job. So this was the first time where I felt confident enough and comfortable enough in myself and my physique to try something that was just completely, it was just so far out of my normal comfort zone. And it had a massive impact. I'd actually realised that the 3-4 years of hard work that I'd put in and dedication towards this goal and getting into better shape and applying myself to learn, it was all starting to pay off. And it's really weird because you'll find that if you do go from being out of shape and you apply yourself and you are disciplined and you achieve great results over a period of time, it genuinely impacts every aspect of your life for the better. You're more outgoing, you're more confident, you're more outspoken, you'll be more sociable. It just benefits you in every single way. And that's exactly what happened with me. So, some of the struggles throughout my fitness journey. Now, number one is thinking that you need to be perfect all of the time. This couldn't be further from the truth. I genuinely think if you are on plan 80% of the time, you can do pretty much whatever with the other 20% and you will be absolutely golden. During my time at uni in years 3 and 4 especially, I was drinking every single weekend. But for the other 6 days in the week, I was bang on plan and I saw good results from what I was doing, considering I was out drinking most weekends. So use me as living proof that you can go out and still see really good progress, but you can't be half in and half out. You need to be on plan 5-6 days a week and have that one day off to enjoy it and have a little bit of flexibility. Number two is a massive one. So it's comparing yourself to other people. Now, because of genetics, you will never look the same as someone else. It's just not possible. Bone structure, height, all of these things play a role and they are essentially going to decide how you look. For you to compare and for you to aspire to be and to look like someone else, it's just incredibly unrealistic and you will never get to where you want to be. Something I had to learn after a couple of years of looking at Mike Thurston and Simeon Panda thinking, oh, I want to look like that. It's just not realistic. So focus on your journey, focus on your goals, create a physique or a goal for you to work towards with your own body. Number three, which rings true in the first couple of years of my training, so it's the need for intent and structure within your training. First couple of years, I did used to train quite hard, granted, could definitely have trained much harder, but I didn't train light at all. I used to like pushing myself, coming out of the gym, feeling like I had nothing left to give. I really love that feeling. But I realised that to apply progressive overload and to get the best results from what I'm doing, I needed a structured plan that I could follow and track all of my lifts. And then when I was training, I needed to train with intent. Just ensuring that I'm getting the most out of every single rep that I'm doing. Controlling the tempo, going through a full range of motion, standardising my form, making sure that I'm progressing each week. And I'm pushing myself harder and harder every single session. So, coming to the end of my time at university, I was in search of a job. My real plan was to get a corporate job, coming out of uni, potentially get on a graduate scheme, and then to do coaching on the side with the eventual goal of taking my coaching full time, using it as a side hustle, getting it up to a decent level, and then just transferring to coaching full time. I finished uni. And the goal for me was to always go traveling straight after uni. I had no responsibilities. I wasn't tied in with a job. So for me and for the two lads that I went with, it was just the best time for us to go. And it was just the most enjoyable time to go. Again, no responsibilities. I was free to do whatever I wanted. And it was honestly just the best 3 months. Got back from traveling and the original idea was to look for a corporate job, get a 9-to-5, do coaching on the side, and then eventually do that full time. However, I got back from traveling and I thought, right, I've gained all of this knowledge over the past 5-6 years of training. I've done cuts, I've done bulks. I feel like I'm in a position to start coaching people and to coach people to drop fat and to build muscle and to do the same thing that I was doing years before. So I had a little bit of money saved up and I thought, right, let me give the coaching a go. Let me see if I can get it off the ground. Let me see if it's even worth me doing, if I'll succeed. And since I got back from traveling, I spent every single day, pretty much all day. Didn't have a life for quite a while. I'd say a good 6 months. I was just working, trying to get my business off of the ground. And it paid off. It really did. I built a decent client base from the get-go, got a few results out of the gate, and the rest is history. I'm now just under 2 years in. I'm around 18 months in. Got a thriving coaching business. I've just had my first client meetup, and things are going really well. So for a lad at 16 who didn't have great genetics, was unhappy with how he looked, was skinny fat, didn't have any knowledge of training or how to lose body fat or how to build muscle. In the space of 8 years, I've applied myself, I've dedicated myself, I've learned, and now I'm coaching people to get into sick shape, which to be honest just sounds crazy for me to say. And because of the impact that the gym has had on me and how it's improved my life drastically, my goal with coaching is just to replicate a similar sort of journey with other people. People who feel lost, they don't know what to do, they're unhappy with where they're at, it's affecting areas of their life. People who want to be better, that's who I want to coach to get into sick shape. I've been there before, feeling lost, not thinking I was able to get into better shape, but I just kept hitting the gym and I didn't stop. And if you can do that, set a goal and you just don't stop and you are just relentless over and over and over again, you will definitely get there. It's just a case of doing the rep, putting the time in and staying consistent. Just for a bit of reflection, I've gone from hating my body to building a business where full-time I am helping people to get in better shape. Fitness has changed my body, my mindset, my confidence, my whole life. I just want to help others replicate a similar sort of journey. That's it for this video, guys. So drop a like, drop me a subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Peace.